Dude, we're live. Hey guys, welcome to episode
What's wrong with
17
y'all?
of the weekly. And of course, as usual, we have our full host of characters. Myself, Thunder E, Mr. Juan Bagnell from Somegadgetguy. How's it going, Juan?
What up, West Coast represent?
And Juan, you're a little cut off there. Could you raise your camera
I
up a
like giving
little
myself a little haircut. It's
bit? And then we have Black Iron _ man who is visiting again from New York City. Say something.
Oh, hi. Hi.
All right.
Interpretive dance.
And of course, finally, Mr. Warren Bowman from BWone.com. How's it going,
Yeah.
Warren?
How's it going?
All right, cool. We're going to kick things off with the uselessness of the week. This was brought to us by Chrislyn Williams. This is HTC's new contest, which is,
I mean, we're always down for a contest. Contests are cool, and we're not slamming a contest.
yeah, but Juan, could you just jump in and just help me elaborate, because I don't know how to actually put this in words. It's useless anyway.
It's useless anyway. So HTC is doing another partnership with Robert Downey Jr. He's kind of become their spokesman for the one brand. So first of all, RDJ, cool ass dude. I'm a huge fan of his work, have been for a really long time. But what they're doing is they're doing a series of videos where they have Robert Downey Jr. in this room lit by different colors to then pay homage in very short form and in comedic ways to classic films throughout history. Like the first one is a riff on not even films, but also TV. The first one, The White Room, is actually a riff on the classic British TV show The Prisoner, which I love that show. So my issue here isn't with RDJ. RDJ is awesome. These little video shorts are amusing and they're fun to watch, and he's an incredible performer. He's drawing on a number of his old disciplines, like there are little elements of his portrayal of Chaplin in some of these little video vignettes. The problem I have is, WTF does this have to do with selling smartphones? I just don't understand where HTC starts doing some of these fun, wacky lifestyle things and how they have very little to do with technology. And they've done a bunch of things like this where they try and generate buzz by creating viral videos, like their awful rap song.
Ouch.
And I just don't get what type of relationship with their customers they're trying to create. But the contest is all about, sharing these videos and hashtagging and contributing your own wacky videos on Vine. What's the hashtag? It's HTCVRDJ or something like that.
Something like that. Hold on a second. Let me find out what the.
I don't remember what the
Yeah,
actual.
Why are we promoting it? Good lord.
Well, the thing is, I'm sort of I want to talk about this one as the uselessness. That's why we're talking about it. But the videos with RDJ are funny. I mean, that's kind of cool. I just don't get what this has to do with smartphones.
And they don't even sell smartphones in these colors.
Right?
That's the point. Exactly. Thank you very much, Warren. I was about to go there, where it's like, yep, those colors do not exist for their smartphones. If it did, I could kind of see some, similarities there.
Seems like this is like something that Samsung would do, because they actually sell smartphones in those colors.
I want the green one.
Well,
They're damn near
Avengers ones. Anyway,
They're damn near close to being the entire indigo emotional spectrum out of Green Lantern. How many colors they throw out there.
So yeah, that's any thoughts, Sam?
No, none at all. I haven't had a chance to really watch the videos, but it's interesting. I don't know what it has to do with selling cell phones, especially since you guys just pointed out that it doesn't even have any of the colors that they sell. So that just seems silly.
Yeah, okay. I guess we move to the next topic, which is the main topic, but I'm sure Sam and Juan would like to call it my own uselessness of the week. So I sent out the minute notes for this.
No,
show.
you don't get to do this one.
You would never assume that our show is in any way planned or structured. We have any.
Listen, let's go back. Let's go back to the fact that it took 15 episodes for me to convince him to actually send us copies.
Yeah.
I would like a copy at least.
It's only
What
15
topics we'll
episodes.
talk about?
It's only 50 episodes. But anyway, let's get to the
we have
point.
show notes, right? And we have show notes, and this time during the show notes, Thunder E here decided to rickroll us during the show. Nah, he didn't really record. No, he sent the link for one of our first story, which is about the Windows 10 installation, having the watermarks and whatnot. But the link was to Kanye West dressing. Linking Kanye West's fashion.
That's hilarious. That was the best news of the week. That was the best news of the week.
So I sent a link. This is from Engadget, where 7 times Kanye West is dressed like a Final Fantasy character, and I guess I could show you all the photos because.
So this is what we got to view instead of Microsoft's Windows 10 installation.
It is hilarious, though.
That is really funny.
Yeah, it is.
Pretty true. That's sad.
But that's also not the story we're supposed to be talking about, which is why you're on notice, E.
Also, beyond the fact that I don't think you sent it to the right email for me, as usual.
Email fail. Uselessness of the week.
Yes, I have fallen into that group. But going back to Windows 10, Microsoft came out and said that Windows 10, of course, we all know the upgrade will be free for everyone who has Windows 8. But if you have a pirated copy of Windows, you will have a watermark. But Microsoft is saying that they will find some cost-effective way for people who pirated Windows to actually upgrade. They still are not too clear about what they want to do yet. It seems like they haven't finalized their process. But any thoughts on that in general?
I think Microsoft has to expand its user base, right? It has to expand it, and it has to bring these people who are using their product already but aren't paying for it. They have to bring them into the fold, and the best way to do it is to try to find some kind of way to legitimize these quote-unquote like pirates, right? So my guess is they're most likely going to follow the whole, hey, if you're in Asia where their product gets pirated, like just to the nth degree, so if you're in Asia, we'll give you a very, very what's the word I'm looking for? A very tempting offer. So maybe it's 10%, of what we'll be paying in the U.S. or anywhere else in the world, or maybe it's just really dirt. Maybe it's free for them to convert to genuine Windows. But Microsoft has to get them into the whole mindset that they're using genuine Microsoft products, and then they can start charging them for other things from then on. But they have to legitimize these guys.
Well, and also I think this is a smart play on Microsoft's part because they ran into some issues on XP with how much that was pirated, because you can't let those people stay off the reservation in terms of support. There are some really big problems in a huge ecosystem like the Windows ecosystem, where if those pirated computers aren't getting updates, they become the zombie PCs that are built into denial of service attacks, and viruses run rampant. So they need to be supported also. So the amount of energy and effort and the cost that goes into that needs to be sort of accounted, and you need to keep your user base up to date better than what Microsoft has done in the past since Windows XP. So I think this is a smart play, and I'm glad that they're kind of acknowledging that this is an issue they've got, especially as they move Windows from something that lives on a shiny plastic disk to more of a fluid organic service. I'll be curious to see what they do decide in terms of pricing, though, because it's just like Sam said, some of those pirate-heavy markets are going to look at what we can get for free versus what we're going to have to pay for, and I don't know that Microsoft is going to be on the winning side of that argument.
Yep. Yeah.
Warren?
I think it's pretty much been said. It's a way to just get people to legitimize their Windows copies, because you're going to have pirates out there. I'm assuming the prices are going to be so much for them to purchase it. They've gone from pirated to pirated to pirated. Then hey, $10 and it's legitimate. I mean, that's not necessarily a bad enough deal. I don't know if it's going to be $10, but seriously, it's not that bad of a deal if that happens that way. So they can't leave them out in the cold, because you have to. You can't have those, like Swan said, you can't have those PCs out there, not updated, being the ones that hacked, get DDoS, among many other things. But I think it's been pretty much said. It's a good move by Microsoft to kind of encourage pirators to buy Windows, because it's not about the Windows anymore. It's about the services that go with Windows.
All right, so we're all clear on that fact. Let's move on to the next topic. And I guess it should have been a uselessness also, because HTC just released the ButterFly J, or ButterFly 3, in Japan, And as you would expect, the specs for that phone are better than its flagship, which is the One M9. This is the device here. If we just go through some of the specs, it's got a 2700 milliamp battery, it's got a QHD display, it's got a 13 megapixel front-facing camera, it's got a 20.2 megapixel dual camera in the rear, 32 gigabytes of storage, QHD display, again.
It's got two QHD displays.
So I just realized I said it again. That's why I was like again. So yeah, thoughts on this. I guess like I felt like I should have put this as a uselessness again too, but you know.
I don't get HTC strategy right now. You guys know that from the M7. I've been a huge fan of HTC build and design, and the M7 and M8 were some of my all-time favorite phones. I don't get this. I really don't know what it is that they're trying to accomplish by dividing up features. And it's kind of some of the complaints that I had about Nokia in like from the 500 series, 600 series, 700 series, 800 series, and 900 series, where some phones get some features, but then other phones, like lower tier phones, get better features than some of their higher tier phones. So a move like this, I think, just confuses their market, and it kind of takes HTC back, in a way, in my opinion, to some of the problems that they had before the One, when they had different branded phones on different carriers in different countries, and you could never get a firm grasp on what an HTC phone was like, because you had such division between all these different product lines and models, and it was really confusing. I really liked when HTC started simplifying, and I don't think this is a step in the right direction.
Anyone else?
I totally agree with Juan. It's kind of confusing now. It's what is your flagship device? Is it what you made a big hullabaloo about in MWC, which was the M9, or is it the M9 Plus, which was not even displayed on while MWC was going on, or is it now this ButterFly 3, which is only going to be released in Japan until it comes out? I mean, I should say released in Asia until it comes out maybe later on.
No, it's never coming out. None of the ButterFlies ever come out here.
So what is its flagship device? What is HTC doing? Does it know where it does it really understand that people, you need to have a flagship so that people can identify what your brand is, because you can't tell exactly what to expect from you on any given device, and we really just don't know from HTC because they don't know themselves. I think that's a problem with leadership.
Warren, anything?
It's just HTC being HTC. They're going back to what they were. No, they're going back to what they were before. They went from trying to make one solid product line to going back into making a million different product lines for a million different carriers and a million different things. It's what they're used to doing. It's what they're known for. It's how they started off. They're just going back to being who they were. So it is what it is. We'll always be confused by this. I don't think I have serious doubts it's going to be anytime soon that they get their act together on this type of thing and start releasing one device, or start really saying, here's our flagship that we go across the world, here's our lower tier that everyone has, and not mix specs back and forth. That's going to take some serious change, and honestly probably rebranding a whole other line again, because they've all but mixed up the one line that nobody knows what the heck is going on with what they bought. Remember, this isn't this has been mixed up, because you could start off with when the HTC One X first started out, and then you had the One S and the One whatever afterwards, that all mix of different specs, that some were still better than others. Even one was tiered as a lower tiered product. Sometimes the screen was better than the higher tiered product, or the processor was better in one of the other products, or the camera was better. It's all the same thing. Look at something like the Desire I that came out that has a better camera. It's probably HTC's best camera phone, surprisingly, out of all the phones they got. That's not even a flagship phone. So
I think this ButterFly is going to be using the same camera as the Desire I, right?
Yeah, front-facing camera is the same as the Desire I, yeah.
There you go.
But to also to Warren's point, we just got a comment by Mike L. Beard. I think the term flagship should just go away. HTC just has smartphones.
Well, it's good to say that. It's good to say, oh, it's just smartphones. But the thing is, how do you compare? Now you're going to go buy a phone. How do you compare what is the best that Samsung has to offer versus the best that HTC has to offer versus the best that LG has to offer? You have to look at their flagship. What are these guys doing at the highest tier of devices that they offer. And this is where you make your decision. Do I stick with Samsung? Do I think they're a great manufacturer? Do I stick with HTC? Do they consistently deliver on all the promises they make about the device? Or do I go with LG, who is, turning out to be somewhat of, this, punchy younger brother that could actually, eventually outpace the rest of them? So who do you go with? And I think flagship devices really help you make that decision. So as much as I would like to agree with you and say agree with Mike, what's his name? Yeah. As much as I'd like to agree with Mike and say it's just smartphones, it does.
No. I agree. I think part of the issue that we're also running into is that the current aesthetic. I've complained about this so many times in the past. I'm not going to say this too long, but the current aesthetic that we have for smartphones is plateauing. Because like a flagship from 2 years ago is still pretty competitive to what we get on some of these newer devices. We're getting smaller and smaller iterations that are going to be more and more expensive to achieve those smaller bumps in processing power and screen resolution and performance for features that I don't know really change the way we use our phones.
Yeah, and Bradley Latra says, agree with Juan. HTC is going back to the old days when they were making a loss quarter after quarter. Look at the M9, M9 Plus, now this.
Yeah, I still don't get the M9 Plus. I mean, was that MediaTek? And I don't know. That was the first Quad HD screen, right?
Yeah, that was the first Quad HD screen. And then he also says you can't stop or threaten pirates because they will still find a way to pirate your software. But if you make it cheap enough.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I like about what Microsoft is doing. Is the threat is you get a watermark. Not the that's not really.
Still going to get support. That's the thing too.
Right.
Yeah, they have to support it.
Yeah.
So I mean, if that's all it is, I know a number of people would be like, fine, whatever, keep a watermark on my screen, I don't care.
I wonder how that watermark's gonna look if the watermark goes through everything. If it's just the watermark's in Internet Explorer, the watermark's in your browser, it's just on your screen like burnt in.
Forget even burnt-in. It's like floating in the center there, and then once in a while it starts fading down. You're like, it's gone. It's like back again.
They didn't even say what watermark it is. If
I know.
they really want to be good and they want to troll people, it's Clippy.
Oh,
they Clippy you.
Oh, you know what? Okay, they should do this. You have a camera.
Pay up for that.
I would pirate Windows again. Just
to get that. Just to
get have Clippy hanging around.
Or they should do something where if they notice that there's more than one person on the camera, then they should basically put the watermark out there. Just like, hey guys, come check out this video. Oh, you pirated Windows? Seriously, man? You pirated Windows? Just shame people. That'd be bad. That'd be pretty good.
All right.
I'd be on board.
Moving on to the next topic. Huawei's having an event in June in the US, and speculations that it might be some version of the Huawei P8. It might be a P8 Max or P8 Lite. Any thoughts, or you just think it might just be the P8 as a US launch?
Probably the P8.
Yeah,
I think it's probably going to be the P8.
I actually just kind of hope it's the P8 because Huawei's been flirting with the U.S. market for a while, and I'm always down another company walking in to give us a little more competition. So
I mean, going with the rumors also that Huawei has been selected to do the next Nexus.
Oh.
Well, we've heard a couple different rumors on a Nexus 5 coming out from LG, and then like a Nexus phablet coming out from Huawei. At least those are some of the stories that I've been picking up on. So, I mean, again, I have a hard time getting stoked for Nexus. It's not my jam until the device actually launches. I'm not really going to sit here and try and play with rumors as to whether or not we're going to get an uber cheap phone or some kind of flagship style device in a more expensive style phone. But really, I kind of want to see one of these Chinese manufacturers come in and see if they can compete
in the US market.
Yeah, because I mean, we've been watching Sony stumble a lot. We've been watching HTC have some issues in how they're trying to keep their product line up. Right now in the Android marketplace, I kind of think it's a Samsung LG fight. And we always get boring results when it starts getting down to just two companies.
Yeah,
true. Look at when it was HTC Samsung basically last year, and then LG comes out with the G3, and basically everybody's like, oh, best smartphone of the year.
I mean, it got a lot more interesting, and I think the G4 actually stands to give the Galaxy S6 proper competition, not just it's an alternative that you can probably get cheaper.
Yeah, that's true. Very true. Now, talking about China moving to US and US moving to China, Netflix is looking to make ground in China. They've been having some talks there in China, and I think this would be very big if Netflix can get into that market. I'm sure it all depends on pricing and piracy and all that kind of stuff, but in my mind, if Netflix launches in China, that's a whole gold mine of of beauty there. Any thoughts, guys?
Well, what's interesting about that is Netflix does have a China-based thing. I mean, China has a sort of a Netflix. It's called You On Demand.
Yeah.
Actually, the CEO of that is actually Shane McMahon. When he left WWE, that's actually what he went to go and do.
Oh wow.
So it'd be interesting to see Netflix come in and compete against, basically not an American company, but another American in the China market. But I think if Netflix can get in there, the name brand is pretty big. That I think a lot of people.
With all the shows they have,
Yeah,
and original content too.
And that's the other thing, and that's also they can make original content for that market as well too. Most likely, that could be a pretty big thing for them because they definitely have the capital, more capital than I would say the You On Demand network probably has available to really make a push into there, and not just bring U.S. shows to the market, but then
Chinese road shows over here too.
Yeah.
I was going to say Hong Kong cinema, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, some action flicks, baby. Yeah.
I just had to jam Ip Man again. I love that movie.
Drama
Man.
from Hong Kong, actually.
Ip Man and Ip Man 2.
Yeah.
Ip Man 2 is almost exactly.
It is.
No. It's like a ripoff of.
It's a ripoff of a Bruce Lee movie. It's
No. Even better. No. It's if you watch Ip Man 2, and I don't want to spoil it for anyone because I still really like the movie. I think it's fun, but it's the structure of the film is very much Rocky IV. Only the British are the Russians.
Yeah. I can see that.
I think it's hysterical because even at the end of the film, he has to give a speech about how we can come together and be people, and it's just like Rocky at the end of Rocky.
I'm gonna watch it again with that in my mind.
It's so great. I love it. I love Rocky.
Oh
yeah.
Ip Man 2 is like
they're making another Ip Man also
with Donnie Yen.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be awesome because I know there's an alternate. Another company did sort of the last days of Ip Man. I can't remember what.
Yeah, I watched that. It wasn't bad. It's a different take.
It was okay, but I want another Donnie Yen film.
I haven't seen that one. I haven't seen the last.
Yeah, that wasn't bad.
Apparently, Mike Tyson's in this too.
Yeah, Mike Tyson's in this one. It's gonna be in this one. Yeah, so we'll see how that is. So now that we're talking,
it's supposed to be historically kind of somewhat loosely accurate based.
That was the first one, and maybe part of the second. Now this is now just
they kind of.
This is like we found our new Bruce Lee. Let's just keep doing it.
Oh no, we found the guy that trained Bruce Lee.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's really funny watching them to create a myth around Ip Man. Because I know like older kung fu films were all about what's the mythological, not mythological, but sort of loosely historical, but now becoming more of a mythological character. Wong.
Jet Li played him also.
Yes, I mean, but then also, I mean, that's it's the character of the same name that Jackie Chan portrayed in the Drunken Master, because that was supposed to be a joke, that they took this revered historical / mythological character and made a Drunken Master movie out of him. That's why his name is supposed to be funny.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of funny now watching them roll over that we've outlived Ip Man long enough that we can start blurring the lines on history and mythology for him now too. I just think that's a really fascinating look at sort of cinema culture.
Yeah. Well, we're now into the entertainment section since Netflix.
Wait, we're still talking about the Huawei. Oh no, not the Huawei, the Netflix side of things. Still technology.
Did Sam? Did you have anything you wanted to add?
Sam didn't have an input. We're sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I just want to say basically.
All right, that's enough.
Oh, you know what? You're still useless. Okay, so
you see him wiping away tears. It's fun, man. You're still useless, though.
No, so basically, I just want to basically highlight the fact that when Apple had its biggest quarter, last year. It was because they moved into China. So Netflix definitely is looking to make just as much gain as Apple did by moving into a market where they don't exist right now. However, the problem I have with this whole idea is that when you travel from the United States into outside the United States to a country that actually gets Netflix, the problem is you can watch shows, you can start watching a show in the US, and by the time you get to your final destination, you can't watch it on Netflix anymore because the content agreements are different. So
Oh no, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Tim. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So I'm just saying, if the content agreements are different between the Asian market, where we know there's a lot of copyright issues right now between Asia and a lot of the world, China and a lot of the world, then I don't know how effective Netflix can be in a market where probably a lot of the content would not be able would not be visible. So that's a question there. Does Netflix have enough content and license agreements to make a lucrative push into the Chinese market?
Well, this is. I mean, I'm glad you brought that up because this is something that I meant to touch on in one of our previous weeks. I want to say it was a story about 2 or 3 weeks ago that one of the big action items on Netflix docket right now is trying to bring down content restriction barriers across country agreements. They're actively working on. I think their first markets are trying to see if they can't whittle down the regional restrictions between the U.S. and Great Britain.
Mm-hmm.
So we would maybe start getting more BBC content streaming directly on Netflix. And so that is something that they're actively trying to address. And it would be really interesting if Netflix rolls into China with sort of a limited offering, and then all of a sudden, Netflix can go to all these other countries and say, hey, we've got the world's largest market.
Yep.
If you want people paying for your content and not pirating it in China, we can now talk about a deal where we can expand content availability across all regions, and you'll make more money in the long run. You will make more money by turning piracy into paying customers.
Yeah.
If they can pull that off, then they're looking at a pretty big...
it's totally an uphill battle, and I'm not saying there's any guarantee that Netflix can do it, but...
All you got to do is sit there and show, look at the music industry. Do you want to end up like that?
Yeah. Although, you know what, I mean, living in Hollywood, working in Hollywood, none of them have figured that out. None of them have learned any lessons from Netflix Napster wrecking the music industry. They're all making the exact same mistakes.
In reality,
they're still doing. They still embraced on demand. They still embraced a lot more.
They still think about units sold. I mean, I'm still listening to people complaining about like a DVD product and Blu-ray individual unit sales, and you're like, that's not a thing anymore.
No, it's not. Yeah. I mean, that's just the business side of that. What to talk about to replace what DVDs are. It just hasn't come out or hasn't matured yet enough for that to be a talking point just yet. But they're still better than the music industry is by large and by far, because things like Netflix exist. They allowed a Netflix and a Hulu to exist. You got to remember, the music industry did not want anything like a Netflix
any streaming radio
went up. They
were trying to charge Pandora as an actual radio station, and this was we're not talking about decades ago. They were talking about like 3, 4, maybe 5 years at the most.
They're still talking about that now.
It's ridiculous. Like they just haven't gotten it.
Luckily enough, Spotify came from Europe and said, "Screw all that."
Yeah. No, but the thing. But to go back to that what you said about Napster breaking the music industry, I actually think Napster fixed the music industry. It literally said what everyone has been saying for all of the 90s. I don't want to spend $20 on a CD.
Oh God, do not remind me.
That I only like 2. You know, so Napster came out and said, you know what? Download MP3s. Take the one you want. Yes, it wasn't legal, but if I was the music industry, I would have taken note and be like, okay, maybe we can let people buy what they want.
No, but it took them long enough to realize that technically you are even, Apple does this. I remember like Gary was telling us, he's like, for instance, Ludacris, released that mini album of his that only had 5 tracks, right? At CES. He downloaded all 5, right? He downloaded the album, which is 5 tracks. Then he released his expanded album, which had the original 5 and like at least another 7 more tracks. Mm-hmm. Normally, the system should just have gone, you already have the 5.
Yep.
You pay for the 7. He still had to pay for almost the full amount. He just deducted it like, maybe 20 or 30 cents per track, off it. This was iTunes. He's like, I technically paid for the album twice.
Yeah. And that's exactly why streaming services are popular.
You know?
I just have the album. I can listen to it on demand whenever I want to, and people are willing to pay to do it. And unfortunately, I know we're going off on a tangent there a little bit, but just comparing movies to music and where each one at, like the film industry is still going strong and making some money and still going somewhere. The music industry is on life support and has been for a long time, and the collapse is imminent with that. I don't know what we're going to hear from music pretty soon. Seriously.
Yeah. Well, the music industry needs to completely reinvent how services are monetized, and unfortunately, I think it's going to mean that unless you're an A-list artist, the actual musicians are going to get burned first. And so I think it'll actually come from the ground floor up, where
if
individual musicians will figure out their own methods for monetization and how they can survive as artists, and then that'll start to influence the rest of the
once some of these artists are realizing it's similar to somewhat what Macklemore did, is realizing like I can do this on my own and I don't need an entire label to do it. It's 10 times more the work to do and to get the different deals and things in place. But the internet allows me to have my own music career if I really wanted to do it the way I want to do it.
That's very true. I remember what's his name, Daniel Bedingfield, when he did his first album at home, did everything, put it up on the web. That's how his album, his first track blew up. And then, this was like, 5-6 years ago when he came out. I mean, now he's kind of whittled off, but it was the same thing. It's, once you get that internet traction, then you have that ability to put your stuff out there and,
Essentially, that's how, the world famous Soulja Boy got on. It was legitimately MySpace. He made that song, put it on MySpace, and it became a #1 hit.
What about, what's his face? The kid that everyone loves to hate.
Justin Bieber was YouTube, yeah.
Yeah, the Bieber was a YouTube guy.
That was found. Yeah,
but he was also with Usher. He was.
No. Usher found him off.
Yeah, but he wasn't. It wasn't the same type of thing. He was a lot more already in the mix of things. Like his name was kind of out there. YouTube just pushed him a little bit further. It's like Soulja Boy, who knows no one, sat there and made a beat off of free version of Fruity Loops, by the way.
Yeah.
And off of his Dell laptop and rapped in probably one of the cheapest mics he could find and makes a #1 hit. Not just at one time. That song went #1 for like 15 weeks, dropped down because I think of a Britney Spears song for 2 weeks, and went back up to #1 again.
Wow.
It's good. It's good. All right, so now that we are back to entertainment again.
Well, I mean, the nice thing is we never really left entertainment, if you think about it.
Just on a sad note, the King of Blues passed away yesterday.
Yeah, the thrill is gone.
Yeah, so I just want to pay respects to a man who gave us some real good tunes and some good music. Any extra thoughts or comments?
Nope, I'm gonna break out some nice bourbon and probably throw in a Greatest Hits album today.
True. All right, moving on to some other entertainment news this week. Let's start off with some casting news. Actually, let's do that. Yeah. Let me just share my screen first for a second. Hold on. Let's get that in there. And starts. This gentleman. Can you see my screen, guys?
Mm-hmm. What could you be trying to tell us with that picture, E?
I can't see nothing. Is that Eddie Griffin?
No, that's Gary Anthony Williams.
I couldn't see a picture. He looked like Eddie Griffin.
No, that's okay. So for the Warrens out there watching the show, Gary Anthony Williams is going to be Bebop, and I could not be happier because I've worked with Gary Anthony Williams, and the dude is awesome. He's super fun to work with. He's super funny. I'm on board.
Wait, they're giving Michael Bay another Turtles movie?
It did well. And I mean, like, it didn't it do better than the last Transformers film? I mean, like substantially better in box office?
No, Transformers did $1 billion, but this did better.
The last Transformers film, really?
Yeah, $1 billion because of China.
I
remember because I made a video of saying why did this movie make $1 billion.
All right.
It made $1 billion, but yeah, he's been cast as Bebop. No word on Rocksteady yet on there. Moving on to the next thing, some shots from Captain America: Civil War with Cap wearing sunglasses.
Looking kind of old there, Cap.
Hey man.
Worn.
Civil War.
He's tired, old man. He's out of time.
And this
doesn't
is
belong in this time.
Mike Grillo as Crossbone.
Oh, right on.
And we have Anthony Mackie there in his new gear as
Looking very similar to a Captain America.
yeah, I know.
Move him over. I like it.
Maybe. And
He's
then,
got to be the follow-up Cap, right? I mean, they can't flip it on us and not have him be the next Captain America.
Okay.
They could always pull the Dark Knight Returns ending. They can always pull that.
Yeah.
I guess.
Now,
I hope they don't.
This is Wakanda, ladies and gentlemen. But that bus, Sam, doesn't that remind you of a bus in Lagos right there?
Oh my God.
Wait, that's a bus?
That's like a little what do we call it, a bus, a little minivan.
Oh, it's a minivan. Okay.
But this is
hang out of all ends of it.
This is in Wakanda. Although, you know what? I don't know why they're portraying Wakanda this way. Wakanda is supposed to be...
Isn't Wakanda supposed to be like super high tech and stuff?
Yeah, Wakanda is very super high tech.
Not necessarily. Like, remember, Wakanda is very, very high tech. But if you remember, the guards in Wakanda still had their spears and shields. So
but they fired phases out of the spears anyway.
Yeah. So I wonder if there's a story behind that. There's a different story.
Well, what if this is back in time or something? I don't know.
No. This is Captain America still in his new gear here, and
where are they filming? What country are they filming this in?
Atlanta.
The country of Atlanta.
Atlanta.
Just in Hotlanta. They're in Atlanta. This is
wearing that suit in Hotlanta.
Yeah, in Hotlanta, man. It's gonna be hot and muggy, man.
It's a struggle.
Yeah,
it's a struggle.
And then we have some pics from Suicide Squad. Harley Quinn blowing a bubblegum, and Killer Croc in his threads.
Killer Croc. Okay.
So that's it on the.
He looks like M. Bison from this distance.
a little bit.
Yeah. No, even his first pose, some people were like, "Yeah, he's got that M. Bison pose going on there," you know. So
no kicks at all. Use the kick button punch.
Yeah. Anyone?
Oh, you're using M. Bison to me. Oh, duh. Okay, you mean Balrog.
Yeah, okay. Balrog. Okay.
For the Americans out there, he means Balrog, which was named M. Bison after Mike Tyson before before he came over to the U.S. Okay.
Sorry, I was just playing Street Fighter in 4K, so I was like, got effect in my head.
I'm like, why is he saying M. Bison? That's like Balrog. I'm like, oh,
that.
Any other on the TV side of things, CW just announced its new show called DC Legends of Tomorrow, which to me becomes the first very comic book show of all comic book shows I've seen, because the storylines are not the kind of storylines that make sense for a regular, like how you have Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which is kind of supposed to be espionage, and Flash is based on one hero, Arrow. Mm-hmm. This is time travel. This is all these. It's a very geeky superhero show. One of those where if you don't like superhero shows, then you might not like the show. I'll just put it that way from what they've done. Anyone see the Supergirl show trailer?
Are we gonna get into like dangerous territory with?
No. See, I was going to diss that until, and I have to. You guys probably haven't seen this. I ask you to please go watch the trailer for the movie Gem and the Holograms.
Oh, yeah. My wife was telling me about that. She was a huge Gem and the Holograms fan, and it seems like they completely gutted what fans of that show care about.
It is so bad.
Why is it live action?
Well, everything has to be live action.
But it doesn't even matter if it's not like. I mean, it's Gem and the Holograms. They can make the holograms now with text, so it's not like that's an issue, right?
Yeah, it's a cartoon. Some things need to stay animated.
No, but this thing has a fan base. There are a lot of women who grew up watching this, because remember, Gem and Holograms was placed in between Transformers and something else. So while they watched our cartoons, it was in between there. And
I just remember changing the channel when that came out.
And
of course, because it was for girls.
Yes, but it's an opportunity to make a movie for something that people grew up with. And I swear to God, I watched the trailer. I was like, this is nothing like
It's not Gem and the Holograms.
It's not. It's just about a girl who starts singing. They put her song on the internet. She goes big, and then they want to separate her from her brand, which is called the Holograms. That's it.
You know what makes me crazy angry about how we treat female superheroes? And they did the exact same BS thing in Bionic Woman, where Gem in this live action film didn't put herself online. Her sister did.
Yeah.
She is not the adventurer. She's thrust into a world that she didn't know that she wanted to be a part of and now has to figure things out. And the same thing happened in Bionic Woman. In the 70s Bionic Woman, you had an adventurous tennis star who would go off and go crazy skydiving. She was an adventuring girl. And in the modern remake, which was terrible, it was she got into an accident and her boyfriend had to save her with bionic technology. And she didn't want to be any part of this espionage covert ring. No, we want women that are going to go out there and do things because they want to do things, not that they have to deal with new situations because someone else thrust them into the limelight. That's not interesting storytelling.
That is what the Supergirl trailer kind of borders on, half of it. If you've seen that.
Well, the Supergirl trailer feels a lot like the Saturday Night Live joke Black Widow trailer. The tone is so off. They completely missed the tone on Supergirl.
I mean, there's some points where she wants to save, and you're like, okay, this is cool. And then there's some points she's like, I don't know. I was like, your cousin is Superman. You're almost as strong. I mean, like, what are you doubting yourself for here? It's not like she's doubting herself, oh, how should I use my powers, right? That's one thing to say, okay, should I use it for good or evil? No, she's like, but I don't know if, like, the world's going to... I was like, really? Really?
And I really hope they don't get overly hung up on, I'm trying to keep a relationship with my boyfriend, but Metropolis constantly needs saving. You know, like, I'm going to have a hard time if that becomes, like, major A-plot material.
So, yeah, so that was that. Now, speaking of female superheroes, if you want to see one, go watch Mad Max this weekend. I guarantee you that is the best. Okay, let's put it this way. People have asked me, Avengers of Age of Ultron is here. Mad Max is right here. I just put it for you that way. George Miller has created a action masterpiece.
Yeah.
Straight up, there's no dilly dallying. And the character, every character is strong and solid. There's no, it's not like I would say there's no wavering, but it's basically when you watch the movie, you know what you're getting into, and the characters don't disappoint you. You don't go, oh wow, this guy was kind of like. In and
well,
out.
And also, I mean, from George Miller, I think the one thing that I will celebrate about the way that he produces films is that I think he stays very true to the rules of the world that he sets up.
Yeah.
Because Mad Max is a post-apocalyptic wasteland. You cannot have weak, dilly-dallying, wavering characters in a post-apocalyptic wasteland. Everyone needs to be gung-ho, action, kick-ass. Because those are the only people who would survive.
Mm-hmm. No, I definitely. Have you seen the movie yet?
I haven't. I'm gonna try and catch it tomorrow.
I definitely, anyone who wants to watch a fun action. I mean, I put it this way. I was on the edge of my seat. It's like 2 hours of action, and it's not 2 hours of Michael Bay action. Let me just get it straight here, because some people would think that it's too. No, this is like. The choreography in this, everything that happens, you can clearly see it. It's not one of those movies where it's crazy, it's all over the place. It's nuts, it's crazy, but you can actually see the action sequences.
And they don't do shaky cam BS stuff.
No, there's no shaky cam, and it's all practical effects. So every car that blows up actually. That kind of thing where it's like, okay, they really went all the way out to make.
But I love that edge of the seat. It's like, you'll pay for the whole seat, but you'll only use the edge.
So yeah, that's it there on entertainment. Anything else? I mean, we've pretty much run the gamut. Anything we missed? Tech, entertainment before we round up.
Well, the one thing that I wanted to throw out in tech, and I forgot before we started drifting over into entertainment. I just wanted to get a quick. If any of you guys have used the new Microsoft Hyperlapse app.
I used it a little bit. It's good. It's solid. It's much better than the other one from
Instagram's BS
Instagram.
app.
Yeah, this thing holds very well. I mean, no matter how you shake. I did a quick one when I downloaded. I was like, like just sitting down and doing that, and all it did was it literally just tracked me moving in this direction, not like shaky, like craziness all the way.
Warren, have you checked it out?
Well, sorry, can I say that again? I didn't.
The Hyperlapse
Hyperlapse
app
app?
from Microsoft.
The hyper what?
Hyperlapse.
That's probably a no.
No, I haven't even.
So yeah, I produced a review on it. This is actually my plug for what people can expect from us if we're gonna move on to that. But I just this morning released a new showdown between the Microsoft Hyperlapse app and the Instagram Hyperlapse app, and I got called out on my first comparison by a bunch of people who apparently think I'm shills for Microsoft and Samsung and HTC and LG. Apparently, all these companies at the same time.
All kinds of shills.
Yeah,
All
I'm
kinds.
just apparently I get paid by every company to shill their products. So that's what led me to make this this little comparison rig.
So where can we buy that
Buy
rig?
that.
So here's the problem, and this is basically made out of spare parts in just from other pieces of camera equipment that I've got. These smartphone cradles are no longer made. This was a company called Woxum who made the Slingshot, and this is one of the best cradles I've ever used. Unfortunately, they were a Kickstarter company that went belly up about a month after they actually shipped their product. So the base plate is from iStabilizer. It's actually part of their Dolly system, and it just uses standard camera thread. So if you can get a hold of any other smartphone,
Juan, I think you missed the point. We were asking how much can we buy it from you.
That's kind of what I'm explaining in that I can't sell this.
No, Juan is starting his
can't.
Kickstarter campaign.
Exactly. Let's just change this to Kickstarter. Okay, look. I think you missed our point. Juan, can you please remind him again?
Where can we buy this? I want money. I throw monies at you.
Yes, let's do this.
Okay, so I'll put together a prospectus, and hopefully we can start talking by the end of the month.
There we go.
There we go.
But it just made me sad because I wanted to put out plans like how you could do the exact same build, but you can't because my two favorite parts, this handle grip which has the little pop out legs for the tripod, and the Slingshot cradle just don't exist anymore. I really wish that company. I wish I had bought more because I only got two.
There's more in China.
I might just rip off their design, just see if I can do the same thing with spring steel. Anyway, but
so Kickstarter coming soon, guys.
Coming soon. But you can see camera comparison rig version 1.0 in action on my new Hyperlapse Microsoft versus Instagram video on my YouTube channel.
Cool. Anything else to expect from you next week?
Oh, I'm also going to be doing another camera review. This is the Stylus ZTYLUS, and it's a camera lens system for the iPhone.
I've gotten one of those before for the Galaxy Note.
Yeah. They make them for a couple different phones. Even just in my first initial, it's a great little system. Very nice clicky action, a nice metal build. It's a fun case for the iPhone. You can pop off the lenses and put on a kickstand. So it's a pretty versatile system, and they also make a ring light that clips onto this and gives you a row of LEDs so that you can better illuminate some of your shots. So I'll have a full review out on this with a ton of photo samples for the different lenses that come included in this package sometime next week.
Okay, cool. Mr. Bowman, what can we expect? Ready, set, go.
Stuff in 4K.
4K stuff.
And with some nicer audio, I would imagine.
Oh yes, some nicer audio equipment. It just got this H4n by request of by recommendation of Mr. Juan Carlos Bagnell, Somegadgetguy, and I got a couple of mics here that I'm gonna try out. This Audio Technica
I'd actually be really
Pro
interested.
70 and this Sony E. I can't remember the model number, but the Sony here as well too. One's supposed to be, the price difference is pretty big between the two of them, but one is sort of I think the Pro 70 is a cardioid microphone, and this
Sony
Sony
is Omni, right?
Omni, and it's like a broadcast. I guess they use it in broadcast television or something like that. So
Yeah.
I saw that around for a while, so I'm interested to see.
I'd actually really like to, because I'm the audio snob,
Yeah.
and I actually haven't played with the Sony mic. So I'd actually be really interested if you were to do a shootout with the two. See which one you like better.
I'm definitely gonna try and plug away at both of them and see which one is the better of the two.
Wow. So Finally, Warren told us at least something we might expect from him next week.
I told you stuff in 4K.
No. You also mentioned the mic and all that, so praise the Lord. It's okay. Let's move on before he changes his mind. And how about you, Sam?
Core FX. That's video's done. Just needs to get uploaded. For some reason, I'm having problems with OneBox.
What's Core FX?
It's basically this really cool vest that you put on, and it uses the audio from your gaming device.
I had one of those for Nintendo when I was a little kid.
Yeah, so it's a pretty cool little accessory. It's not the greatest thing in the world, but if it's people who really want to feel that they're immersed in the game, it might actually add some value to the game.
Well, there goes the review.
Oh no!
Spoiler.
I guess.
Stay tuned for the review still anyway.
Well, there are a lot of things that go into it, right? There are a lot of things that basically go into setting it up and things like that nature, and things like that. So basically, if you want to see how to get it set up, how to properly put it on and everything, go ahead, watch the review. I think you'll find it interesting.
All right, cool. On my end, shit.
Yep, that's coming.
I just forgot. Yeah. No, 4K. The 4K TV. I should have a video up for it next week. Not exactly sure if I'll be able to finish it. And then, yeah, okay, that's about it because I can't remember anything else.
Hey, talking trash about me.
I know, right?
Wow.
Just a couple more quick comments from the QA before we wrap up. Mike L. Beard, I don't think HTC has made a best yet. They're two all over the board. I think that's the issue. I would completely agree. Joseph Hampton, agree with E. Mad Max, awesome. First 15 to 20 minutes, my mouth was open. Any movie that can get people to shut up and stop eating popcorn is going to be a big thumbs up in my book, so I'm looking forward to that. And then Bradley Larcher, I've used Hyperlapse, it's good. Oh, and just saw your comparison one, and I don't need Instagram's version. Yeah, it's been frustrating that the app has been out for 8 months, 9 months, and Instagram still can't move it to Windows Phone or Android, but then you play with Microsoft's version, and I don't think they need to.
Yeah, the only thing about the Hyperlapse is it doesn't do 4K. That's the only thing.
Well, you can't import 4K.
You can't import 4K.
Yeah, so if you shoot 4K, you have to move it to the desktop app, which can import 4K on the desktop version. But then it's still, I mean, like, I'm shocked. I go through all this in the review, but I'm shocked that Instagram's version doesn't let you import a video. So on the Microsoft version, you can shoot video in 1080p whenever you want, and then import it later.
How are you shocked? Remember, if you look at the Instagram app on Windows Phone compared to
I know.
Tag, the amount of stuff you can do. Remember, you can regram off the Instagram app from Homeboy. You can't do that on Instagram, even still.
No. It's that really frustrating aspect of Instagram is trying to maintain some kind of lock on what they think the experience for Instagram should be, and that is definitely still focused on iOS to the detriment of other platforms. It's not like they're embracing something unique about the iPhone. They're just withholding features from Android.
Wait, can you regram on the iPhone? No.
No, regramming isn't something that I think Instagram thinks is valuable to their service.
Are you serious?
Regramming isn't something that I think they think is a core, and I think they also worry about the aspect of people duplicating content. I think that's a fair criticism on Instagram's behalf, but the community has embraced regramming, just like how Twitter fought
apps that are out there.
No, you gotta think about how long Twitter took to actually do.
That's what I was gonna say. Is like Twitter really fought.
Damn near 5 years later, 5-6 years later, before they finally did proper retweeting, they actually gave an actual way to do, which I think they copied from another app.
And I think to Instagram's detriment, they think they have the right formula for what makes their service popular. Again, I think it's to the detriment of platforms that bring amazing cameras to the experience, and it flies in the face of how their users are actually using the service. So there will be a reckoning at some point, but it won't come until they start to lose some type of momentum or they can't find better ways to monetize.
Mm-hmm. Very true. Well, that is it for this week, guys. Thank you very much. There will be no show next week. half of the crew is traveling, so it'll be hard for us to have a show unless, of course, we do some in hotel static. But most likely, it won't be a show next week. We'll be back the following week, which means, of course, there'll be more news for everyone. But yes, thank you. And don't forget to check out all the different channels. Signing off with Mr. Juan Magnell from Some Gadget Guy.
Boom.
You can check him out at Somegadgetguy.com. You can follow him on YouTube. It is Some Gadget Guy or Mr. Juan Magnell. Either one, you can search and you will find him. Also on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Baidu, Google Hangouts.
Did Baidu just get applause?
I guess it did. But you find him as Some Gadget Guy. And next up, Mr. Warren Bowman from BWone.com. You can find him at BWone.com is the website. Also on YouTube.
It was worth it just for Warren.
BWone.com right there. That's his Twitter handle. And also on Instagram is the real _ Bowman, I believe, right?
Yeah, it's all underscores.
Yeah, underscores. Yeah. So you can find him on all those social media outlets, or just search BW1 on Google. You will find him there. And Mr. Black Iron _ Sam. He is also on the BWork Network, and that is his Twitter handle, Black Iron _ Man. And his videos are on BWork, as well as myself, Thunder E. It is BWork with no lower thirds. Yeah, and the uselessness just keeps rolling. So it's BWork on all social media outlets. Thank you very much for watching the show, guys. We'll catch you back in 2 weeks. So this is Thunder E saying thank you, and always enjoy entertainment.
We're off.